After having gone through the journey of finally letting go of suffering, I got over suffering. I was in love with it. I loved to sit in those negative emotions. I loved to sit in the idea that I couldn't do all the things I wanted to do in my life, that there were things that I was going to have to sacrifice, like my happiness. Guys, life is a game. It's not a battle. It's not a war. It's a game. Okay? It's a game. And every single outcome is something that you caused. Cause, subconscious mind. Effect, physical reality. What that means, you cannot change an effect with an effect. You cannot change your physical reality by changing your physical reality. You have to change your subconscious mind to change your physical reality. This is where the journey started for me. I was trying to change the physical reality with the physical reality, and it wasn't working, clearly. Why isn't anything working? Why was I struggling? Why couldn't I get out of this hole that I had dug? Why was I on this path that I knew where I was headed and I hated the idea of it, but I just kept going? It's like I kept going deeper and deeper into this future that like I knew I was going to be miserable in. Because I was so in love with my suffering, I was so in love with the idea of being unhappy. That's just where I was going. I'm giving myself grace as well because I have been asleep longer than I've been awake. And I don't want to take credit for a lot of these lines that I'm spitting out right now. A lot of these lines are from a YouTuber, Narrow Knowledge. I don't want to take credit. But, bruh, I was sleeping. And the thing is, I didn't think I was sleeping. Like, I was doing yoga for a year. I was like getting my mind, trying to free my mind. But the physical reality just wasn't like it wasn't where I wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? I was like journaling, like all this gratitude journaling, and I'm like, bruh, I don't even like where I'm at. And the journaling wasn't helping me. Nothing was changing from the journaling. So I was like, what the heck is going on? What am I doing? And then that's when I actually looked into the rules of this game that we call life, which, guys, this information is out there. It is available. We are just choosing not to seek it out. But yeah, this is like when the alarm bells were starting to go off for me. I was like, nothing's changing in my life. No matter how hard I try, I'm just jumping from this job to this job, still unhappy. Just a lot of things just weren't to my liking. And instead of admitting that to myself and then changing something, like actually looking into how I can make permanent lasting change, I just was accepting my circumstances and surrendering to misery and my suffering. And I think that's like a big trap that we can fall into. When I fell into it with spirituality, is like thinking that our situation, we're stuck in it. We're not. We're locked in a prison, but the prison has no locks on the door. Ain't no locks on the door. The door is unlocked. And we're just like staying in the prison. Because it's comfortable. Because we're scared of the outside world. And I get it. It's scary. Ain't nobody know what's out there. We don't know. Okay? We don't know what's going to happen. We could walk out the door, get hit by a car. Okay? We could... God knows what could happen. But this realization has changed my life. And I want to put this out there to let you guys know as well what took me 23 years to learn. Information that is readily available, but that you have to actually look for yourself because it's not taught in schools. I think I'm just so shook at how much I was suffering, how much I was causing myself to suffer, and I think I'm still processing that part of having to take the accountability for my own life. And I did this to myself, no one else did this to me. It's very easy for me to shift blame, but at the end of the day, it's every single decision that I made had every decision caused something, some kind of outcome And then when I was unhappy with the outcome, instead of looking in the mirror and saying, Anna, I think next time let's just make a different decision, I would blame everything else, everything, rather than just look myself in the mirror and just decide, like, Anna, you need to start taking this seriously. You need to start taking your life seriously and taking ownership over your life. It took me a long time. But I'm getting there, and hopefully this resonates with someone, with you guys, like this message that I'm putting out. All of these things that I put out on YouTube, I just want you to see my experience, and hopefully that can help you and inspire you, or at least just give you like some kind of living example of doing things in a way that is extremely non-traditional. You know what I mean? Because I really believe that the way to do something that is out of this world, that is extraordinary, is to do it in a way that no one else is doing it, right? And I'm not saying no one else thinks like me. Technically, no one else does think like me because we all have our own way of thinking. But like, I just mean the path that most people are walking, that has a predictable outcome. And so if you're someone who has a different outcome than that, you have to walk a different path. And that means that you're going to be faced with challenges that have a lot of like uncertainty and a feeling of like unknown and a quality of like novelty. And that's going to be difficult, right? Because the people who are walking the path with the known outcome, they have each other to lean on. You don't have that. You will find people eventually who align with you, but you won't have that in the beginning when you're breaking free of whatever situation, reality that you're in that maybe you don't want to be in anymore. When it's hard at the beginning, but when you get through that part, it's a lot easier. It gets a lot easier because you start to really embody the new version of yourself. And the one thing I wanted to mention too about this whole idea of life being a game is you determine the outcome of your life. That's really the message. And the way that you determine the outcome of your life is you can actually choose what you want the ending to be, right? And like for me, I don't know necessarily what I want my ending to be, but I know what I want in 5-10 years. So that's like a visual that I have at all times. And if you visualize, because you're a co-creator of your reality, if you visualize this outcome and you do every single thing in your body, in your capacity to embody that reality, you embody that person from day one today, and you just keep doing it, you're going there. That is going to happen, right? It's going to happen. It can't not happen, because where attention goes, energy flows. Okay, so let's say randomly I want to be a cook. Okay, it's not the case, but let's say today I decide I want to be a cook. Okay, so most people would think, okay, so if I want to be a cook, I have to apply to a cook school. I have to probably start doing research on the steps to like get into a good school, and I don't have any background in cooking, so like how am I going to do that? How could I possibly become a cook right now? It's impossible. Okay, first of all, it's only impossible because you haven't done it yet. Okay, and second of all, the way to do this is to first visualize that outcome of you are a cook. What does a cook, who are you as a cook? Who are you? What are you doing every day? Where are you? What are the places you're going to? Who are the people that you're with? All of these things, you visualize them, you start to embody, and you eliminate the how. You eliminate this idea of how am I going to get there? But how could it happen? How? Because logic is not involved in the science of manifestation, in the science of metaphysics. There's no logic. Logic out the door. Kick her out. Seriously. Write it down on a piece of paper and rip the paper. No logic. None. Trust me. And so when you eliminate that middleman, which is like the how, but how, like how are we going to get there? That's when the magic really starts to happen. And that's like the whole idea of trust and surrendering to the universe that you might hear a lot of spiritual people say. That's the real definition of trust. It's not what I did in the fall, which was quit my jobs and expect God to come down and freaking save me and give me a new, like, real, like, great job. That's not how it works. You have to embody. You have to believe it. You have to have conviction. and you have to quite literally force reality. You have to, I like to use this metaphor. It's like you're playing a game of poker and you just have to keep bluffing. But if your bluff is good, you're always gonna win. But if like when you're bluffing, you're scared or you're uncertain, you're doubting yourself and you're like, yeah, and then the other person's obviously gonna know, bro, you're bluffing. No. And then you lose. But so much of it is about that conviction. It's you're playing this game with the universe. And it's really quite amazing. In my last video, I actually linked a meditation that I've been doing, a subliminal meditation. So that really helps to get your visualization in your subconscious mind. That's really important as well because so that meditation is one that you do overnight. It's very important because your subconscious mind never sleeps. So even overnight it's running. So if you can control the dream state, let's say that you have a very hectic life, okay? And you can do limited amount of manifestation work during the day. You can still use the nighttime to do all of your manifestation work. I will say you always do have to put your attention towards this goal. However, like in anything that you're doing, just do the embodiment. Let's say you want to live in California, you're working at McDonald's in Ohio. What you can do is, first of all, embody that person living in California, what they're doing, who they're friends with, who they are, how they talk, how they walk, how they act. And then when you get the embodiment down, when you get home from work is when you do the meditation overnight, right? And in between, what I would recommend is doing research, watching YouTube videos on metaphysics, on just like shaping your reality, things like that. Just research and learning, because learning is the most valuable thing that you'll have. And if you can become a master at anything, I genuinely believe that you should become a master at mastering your reality, at mastering yourself, because then you just eliminate any barrier whatsoever, right? Like you're working at the mental level to create the physical world. So it's just like the best thing that you could do for yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion, obviously. I also think it's important to diversify the things you're learning about. Like for me right now, I'm learning about a lot of stuff, and it's really helping me to open up my eyes to just things that I never placed my attention on because I was so distracted by like other things that were so just now trivial to me. But yeah, I think that's the advice I would give in terms of, okay, but you're talking about all of this, like life is a game, like how do I play? How do I do it? That's like what I've been doing. Like the 3 things that I mentioned is the meditation at night, that's running all night, the embodiment work 24/7, and then the learning. So much content on YouTube that is amazing. Person I mentioned earlier, Narrow Knowledge, is a great one to start. He really simplifies concepts, and he read 800 books over 8 years on metaphysics, like a lot of religious texts as well. I had read the Bhagavad Gita, and I will say it was great. It was a great book. However, it was a little bit hard for me to apply its teachings. So it was a little bit abstract for me, but Nero talks about the Bhagavad Gita because he's read it, and he really like mentions like verses and stuff that are very important and what they mean, and then what that actually means in terms of steps that you take in your life to force reality to be your bitch. I didn't want to say a bad word, but yeah, I think I can say that on YouTube. I think that's all, guys. Super weird video, but it's what was on my mind today, and I'm just getting it out. I'd love to chat with you and see like how I can help you in your situation, because I know a lot of people want to change, but if you don't have people around you who are encouraging you to change, or if you're not like hitting rock bottom and damn, I need to change right now, this is horrible, I can't take it, typically most of us will never change our situations. If you click this video, then I'm guessing you're interested in this stuff, and I think it's really cool. So thanks for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, watch the last video, and subscribe to the channel so you can hear more from me. Bye!